Hello and welcome to the Apex Racing League GT Championship live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me to take you through the racing today is Adam Hedgecock with Sam Kumo on the cameras. We're here for round 7 out of 8. Adam, it is Spa. It is one of our favourite circuits in the world. It's possibly the most popular circuit, certainly in a poll conducted by Apex Racing TV. It did win out comfortably, and it should fit these GT cars pretty well for this penultimate round of the championship.
It's not one of my favourites. It is my favourite. I love this place. It's got everything you could ever want from a racetrack. Fast corners, slow chicanes, really, really long straights to get some amazing draft. Add that into the beautiful scenery of the Ardennes Forest around it. It is amazing. I just can't wait to get going tonight, Sam.
Absolutely. So just a rundown of the format that we have in this championship. We are currently in a 10-minute qualifying session. We've got 6 more minutes left in qualifying. It is a solo qualifying as well, I should add. So all the drivers will be out on circuit by themselves, and they've got 4 laps they can set in this 10 minutes, which we had a long circuit like this. There's pretty much no limitations on that front. We will then have a 20-minute first race. The grid will be ordered by that qualifying, as you can expect. And then we will spin the reverse grid wheel and reverse the grid by that amount for race 2, which will be double length at 60 minutes. Both races worth the same amount of points. So we've got the points on screen at the moment, and you can see Enric Andre, a brilliant season put together by him, was certainly being kept honest by Cyandra earlier on in the championship. And also Jawad Karoni as well, however, he's pulled away in recent weeks. He has pretty much won the championship. Karoni would have to win every round from now to the end of the season, and he is not here. So we can pretty much call him the championship winner. So congrats to Enric Andre on that front. I'm sure he'll still want to end the season well. Second place to him is Dennis Eifenberg, Dennis Karoni, Powell, and Broomfield. In the amateur championship, you can see how close it is. These are the points without drop scores. So they do get 2 drop scores across the season. That's close. Humphrey, Gordon, Lee, Stevens, all mega close, and Copeland as well. Then a bit of a gap back to Joseph Saul, but Brandon Warren, a quick driver there. And in terms of the points with drop scores, Humphrey again is ahead. Daniel Lee is in second place. But it really could change. It really could change. So keep an eye out for that amateur standings. We saw a fantastic race actually last time out, didn't we, Adam? In the amateur, it was, I think it was it Lee and Warren who were battling for the race win at Nürburgring. I mean, that category, we call them the AMs. They are properly good drivers. I mean, these are very quick guys, very consistent guys as well this season. They've managed to establish them as being. And it's great that they've got a championship as close as it is.
No, absolutely. It is incredibly close between them, and I can certainly attest to how quick they are. I joined them for a little bit of a track run last night in a practice lobby, just to see how they were getting on, how they were enjoying it. Run a few laps myself, see how I stack up against them, and boy, did I get schooled. I had to trim out the fuel. I had to take every off-track available just to come close to these guys. To say that AMs, like you say, it's kind of a little bit demeaning to them, given the amount of pace that they've actually got. But it's, based on their I rating, that is where they stand. But nonetheless, they are lightning quick and super consistent with it.
Absolutely. For a little bit of a clarification as well, about 60% of the drivers in this league are amateur drivers. That's kind of where this split off is. 2,400 I rating is the cutoff. So still some pretty good drivers, undoubtedly some drivers who have actually passed that 2,400 as well as the season's gone on. But we set the rankings at the start of the season, so all pretty much set from there. Watch out for Daniel Lee in particular in this qualifying session. He has got a few amateur poles in a row, so probably put your money on him taking that. Enric Andre, though, has been mega in overall qualifying. He was on pole position before this man, Tom McMahon, manages to put it back on pole. Watch out for James Saltz as well. He's back after taking part in round 1. I don't think he's taken part in any rounds since then, but back for this one, and we're very happy to see him back. Currently in 9th position. But it's been a frustrating season for McMahon. I had a few messages actually with him earlier on as well, which reminds me I need to do something to a point sheet after this race. But he, as has admitted, it's been a rubbish season for him. I'm sure, Adam, though, he would just love a race win. It doesn't even matter the context. Have a race win, at least that's something to shout home about. Of course, we've seen his teammate Bibby get a race win. We saw Eichenberg get a race win last time out as well. Apart from that, it's been all stats-like drivers. But look, Martin's looking pretty strong right now in this qualifying.
He is, and he looked strong last week, didn't he? I know he had some issues that put paid to the efforts that he was putting in, but he certainly looked more comfortable in the Ford. I think, well, I alluded to it at the time that maybe he's just driving for funsies now, and that, now the pressure's off. He's really extracting that little bit extra out of the car, but it is a shame for him. We've seen flashes, haven't we, throughout the season of how quick he is, and yeah, for one reason or another, it just hasn't paid off for him. It's a shame. It really is a shame. But we've seen him around before. We know that he'll bounce back, and we'll know that he will certainly come back in earnest and put right the wrongs.
Definitely, we're hoping to get up another Apex Racing League GT Championship about 3 weeks after this one ends. So I'm sure he'll be back for that, and would certainly not put past the championship win for him. Of course, a very successful drive. Won ARL Futures GT about 9 months ago. I guess that was it. It was a while ago. The months do rattle on by. Enric Andre is approaching the line. Tires might be at their best for this third lap. Andre, though, does not improve. McMahon does, and opens up to a half a second lead. And dare I say, that might be the largest gap we've seen in qualifying all season long. That is a mighty effort there from Tom McMahon. Taj Edwards, nice up from him. He goes to the top of the gold racing drivers, if you will, to third, and James Salt remains in ninth. However, you can see how close it is from second all the way down to ninth, separated by just 4.5 tenths of a second. So guaranteed it's going to be very close. Derek Holland, he's trying to improve as well. At the moment, I mean, that is remarkable, Adam. The way that the drivers are separated. Once again, Holland in amongst the amateur drivers. We saw this at Nürburgring as well. Can he improve on his time? He does improve, but it's not enough to move up any places. But all those who have OCD out there, you can thank me later, because that is a very nice looking time tower right now.
I kind of feel bad for Derek Holland. All season, he's just been off the back of the pro drivers, hasn't he? He's never quite been able to qualify up with them. But all the credit to him, he certainly stuck it out, and he keeps coming back and giving it his best, doesn't he?
Definitely. Yeah, it's been very consistent as well this season, Holland, who got to an eye rating at least at the start of the season of 2,781, so it's no slouch. So the grid for this round 7 of the championship, race 1 of the evening. Tom McMahon is on pole, half a second clear of Enric Andre. Can McMahon finally get a race win this season? Taj Edwards lines up in third. That Ferrari could be dangerous off the start. Mike Weisser-Kopsiker in fourth. Then it is Dennis Eichenberg, Stephen Broomfield, so 4 gold racing team drivers, 5 gold racing team drivers. That is mad. With Jeffrey Garzotto, great to see him back in 7th. Oh my god, 5 in a row, madness. Aaron Powell starts in 8th, and then it's 3 Evo SR drivers. What is going on here? James Salt and Damien Harris rounding out the top 10. Then it's Brandon Warren, top of the amateur drivers. Bob Humphrey, second place out of the amateur drivers. Then it's Dean Powell, Kevin Kitzelman, Kev Copeland, Derek Holland, Joseph Saul, Tom Stevens, David Nichols, Bill Kraus, John Chester, and Daniel Lee. Hopefully Lee takes the start. However, he didn't set a qualifying time. He is on the grid though, which is great to see. Rolling start, of course, for this series. So Lee will take the start. Strange that he didn't take the grid. I'm just trying to think, did I give him a penalty last time, which meant they couldn't set a qualifying time? I don't think I did. So Lee is starting from the back for some strange reason. He is certainly one to watch out for, I reckon, Adam.
He's going to be absolutely distraught with that. He was the quickest overall last night in the practice. So
Wow.
he's got pace here. He has got serious, serious pace. So whatever the reason, I'm sure there's maybe he's going for the reverse pole for the second race. Maybe he's playing the strat early. Who knows? We're going to find out. But yeah, he is definitely one to watch.
Just trying to find out what his lap times was. I'm just thinking maybe his lap times were invalidated. Fortunately, I can't. So it turns out he didn't even set a lap time. So shame for Lee. But yeah, certainly do watch out from him right from the back of the order. But what can McMahon do? It is a long run up Eau Rouge, Radion, and then up the Kemmel Straight. If you don't see any issues with cold tires, it's going to be tricky up Eau Rouge on this first time, and La Source could be a problem zone as well. As the Mustang pace car pulls away, it's still a Ford at the front of the field, as it should always be. Dropping out slightly is Andre, but it's McMahon's choice when to go. And away we go then. Meeting 7 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship is underway, and it's a comfortable lead for McMahon. No changes amongst the Gold Racing Team drivers at the moment, or deep on the brakes for Andre, and that's going to lose him a place. And he almost spins around again, really struggling with the cold tyres. It's the Satellite Racing driver as he's swarmed by Gold Racing Team cars heading down into Eau Rouge. Will they get into single file? You'd certainly say they ought to. Just need to make sure they don't lose the rear end. It's going to be so tricky. Really loading up the tyres significantly. Cutting the circuit a little bit further back was Jeffrey Garzotto. He's going to get a slowdown, I'm almost certain, for that one. So he is slowing right on the inside. That's going to drop him way down the order. Good start so far for Kittelman. Good start for Warren. Good start for Salt as well. And Taj Edwards has got ahead of Eno Bonjo, probably most important.
One of the trickiest starts on iRacing has given us the cleanest one we've seen all season. Everyone getting through. There was a few issues there, as you say, for Andre. Just lost it a little bit under braking, couldn't get the power down, and then got absolutely swarmed by the guys behind them. Managed to sort it out before Eau Rouge. Coming up there, it's not quite flat on the opening couple of laps.
And that's in the middle of the circuit as well. And that is Harris, who had a miserable time of it. Well, I say miserable time. He got second place earlier on in the Sim Racers World Endurance Championship. And was it contact with his teammate, perhaps? Oh, it was. Went into the back of him. And it was unlucky for, was that Warren? That must have been Warren, I think. Oh, that's a great shame for Warren, who is going for the title. If he'd won this race one, they would have been right in with a chance, but you can see him down in 14th place. Should have been up into 9th. And that is a massive setback for Satellite Racing. Oh, and off on the inside is Copeland now. Oh, and another one. Cheddar.
Cold tyres are being the culprit here, I think. Just trying to get the power down that little bit too quickly, leaning on the tyres that little bit too much. Warren off again.
Okay. Well, Oh, and we got another one as well with in the Indy Lights car. Oh, dear me. So many drivers losing it by themselves. Kevin Kitzelman, who had got a good start, he makes a mistake now.
Commentator's curse. I shouldn't have said that it's been the cleanest start we've seen. Blanchimont is incredibly difficult in any car at any time, to be honest. Cold tyres in these machines, you've got to take it easy. And it's caught a couple of them out.
So Dan Lee was having an interview for the Team Hard event on Apex Racing TV, hence why he didn't take the start, and he's pretty lucky to get through this first lap without collision, managed to avoid everything. He's up into 16th place, the man who has got a good chance in the championship. Remember, Humphrey, top of the drivers in the Amateur Championship, he currently leads this race, so it would be a phenomenal result if he could take the race victory. Humphrey in this race one would really help him out. There's Garzotto, who started so much further up. I think he started up in 7th place, 8th place, but that slowdown at Radion on the opening lap has massively cost him. If anything, it may have been the place to be honest, because of Harris's off, as Bicyclops here having a few connection issues a bit further up.
I was going to say, after we saw the first incident with Harris, we saw Warren just having to take to the grass, and he managed to avoid it. And I was about to say, before we cut to him afterwards, that he kind of got lucky there. He avoided major impacts, any damage, and could carry on. And then, of course, we see him pointing backwards at the exit of Longchamp. He has pitted, and he is now back out on track. There he
He's
is.
going quite slowly there as well. Or maybe not. I don't know, maybe that Ferrari is a bit understated in its demonstrated. It's quite quiet.
Well, of course, the pit lane exit is at the bottom of Eau Rouge, isn't it? So he's not going to have the same momentum as if he was coming from La Source. So he would be quite a few mile per hour down, I would imagine.
We do have a full reverse grid available on the reverse grid wheel. We have not found it all season long. There's a 1 in 8 chance of it being used, I believe. If it could be used today, that would be miraculous because that would put Warren on pole position. So watch out for that one at the end of this race. It is McMahon currently with a 13.54 that last time round. He was 2 cents faster than Edwards, and this is rare, Adam. Enric Andre, not only is he losing time to the leaders, he's falling into the clutches of the drivers behind. He's got not 1, not 2, but 3 Gold Racing Team drivers behind him, and James Salt as well is along for the party. This is crazy to see for the champion-elect.
It's nothing worse than looking in your mirrors and seeing a group of cars from the same team, because you know that they're going to conspire against you. It's not like seeing one from one team, one from another. Yeah, he's really got his hands full at the moment, and the more he worries about them, the quicker he loses Taj Edwards and McMahon up ahead.
Has just been able to pull away. Eichenberg, I think, made a small mistake through Lecombe, so he might be able to break the draft here on Joe. Of course, Eichenberg getting his first ever win in this series, his first ever Apex Racing League, full stop. Apex Racing League win, full stop. Last time out at Nürburgring, winning race 1, beating Andre fair and square. You can check out the Apex Racing League GT onboards we've been doing recently on our social media platforms, on Facebook. I think pretty much just on Facebook, but you might start opening them to YouTube as well. Great finish in that race, but Andre not quite being able to get past. Did win race 2 comfortably though, despite starting down in 14th place, so we know how capable he is. Through Francorchamps they go, probably the most troublesome corner on the track, and I'm sure if Greenfield didn't have, if this wasn't a Gold Racing Team driver ahead of him, Adam, I think Greenfield would be passed by now, but they're all a bit careful of passing one another, and sometimes that can be costly because you don't want to take out your rival, and sometimes that can mean that you've got the faster driver potentially at the back of the train.
No, absolutely. You don't want to be falling over each other. You don't want to be costing each other time. We saw that Andre was quicker than all 3 of them last time by. Remind me at the end of the race to comment on Eichenberg, will you? I've got something I want to say about him, but won't say it in case I curse him.
That is very good commentating, Adam Hedgecock. That is foreseeing the future, I think, right there.
Well, I know I've been like this season. I've put some curses on some drivers pretty horrendously, so I don't want to do it again.
No. Stevens staying ahead of Saul right there. However, Garzotto with a good run. Lee almost went for me, but Garzotto at the bottom of Eau Rouge, which is ambitious. Fortunately for him, and fortunately for everyone, he backs out of it, but here comes Garzotto straight past Saul. So gaining a few places right now is Garzotto. Haven't talked about the team standings. I don't think we've got that available as a graphic. But the teams is really close, so Evo SR leading the way. The Gold Racing Team, I think, have outscored them in the last 3 or 4 meetings consecutively after a really poor first meeting for Gold Racing Team. And if they keep on overscoring Evo SR as they have been recently, they will be passed by the end of this round. However, with James Salt back and with Gold Racing Team having a good round, but McMahon, of course, winning out at the moment, potentially. Oh, and that's off. Down the straight, oh dear, and that was David Nichols, and that has taken out Joseph Saul. He was an innocent party, had nowhere to go. He was side by side through Huon and had absolutely no place to go right there.
So easily done as well. We're going to see the replay now. A little bit of side by side going down in there with Saul on the outside. Always a tough place to be, isn't it, on the outside? Oh, we can see, yeah. He just started wandering back across the track. Done the right thing by holding his brakes, but just couldn't get it stopped quick enough so the guys could get around him.
Of course, you look back at that, and actually we had a similar incident, didn't we, at Nürburgring last time out, where a driver went off the circuit and then the car rolled anyway. And you know, that car could have easily rolled off the circuit, could have easily happened. And so it's a complete luck situation. I think he would have been able to get to the inside if it weren't for the car alongside him. But I mean, it was so quick reactions.
I think you're right. I think that the natural line for Corn there is the quick line is to pretty much hug the outside, isn't it? You end up on that outside curb. So I think he could have driven forward and got off the track, but keeping in mind what the racing line is, I think he just wanted to hold the brakes and let people go around the outside of him.
Yeah. And there goes Salt on Broomfield. He was kind of falling victim to being held behind his teammates. I wonder if Salt will fancy his chances here. He might feel as though he's got pace advantage on all these guys. You can see Aaron Powell just at the back of this. Powell, who's been had a good season, the American. Only American driver I'm aware of for either SR. But he's certainly driving well as always. Andre, by the way, with a bit more of a gap over at Eichenberg. And there's Bicycopsica and Salt and Broomfield all in a chain. And then he's got Powell a bit by himself. The reverse grid, by the way, can range from, can be 12, 13, 14, 15, full, and then -1, -2, -3, I believe. So you want to be within the top 15, basically, in order to kind of guarantee that you're going to get the reverse grid. Currently, that man is Damien Owen Harris, who may well fancy his chances for race 2 coming up. Meanwhile, this is for the amateur race win. Humphrey versus Powell. Just wondering, has Powell got a chance in the championship? Probably not. Currently, Powell is quite far down the championship, seeing that he didn't take part in the first few rounds. So this is working great for Humphrey at the moment. Looks like he's going to get a whole load of points.
Agreed. One thing that we have seen with Humphrey over the course of this season is that when he gets his nose into a bit of clean air like this, he's incredibly consistent. He doesn't make many unforced errors. Yeah, like I say, a little bit of clean air in front of him. This could be a big day for him, a real big day.
Now, we always say that Derek Holland has the happiest profile picture.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I mean, this could be the battle of the happy men right now. Because Holland, I mean, let's see, Holland, with that profile picture, if you could go back to Humphrey, Powell unfortunately doesn't have one. But Humphrey, I mean, it's pretty close. I'd say Humphrey there, you can see on the outside he's more happy. I think, though, within, Derek Holland is much more content. I think he's a much happier man. So I think Holland still takes it, but I think Bob Humphrey runs in front.
I think Holland needs to give the thumbs up like Humphrey there. I think that's what's doing it for the Humphrey picture. The little thumbs up, that helps. But yeah, you're right. Holland just looks happy. He looks content with life, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He doesn't need to show that he doesn't need to have a thumbs up. He is that happy that he doesn't care about what the thumbs up might symbolise. Just absolutely joy personified right there. Stephen Brumfield, he's a pretty happy bloke in that picture, to be honest.
You said it.
Oh no! Oh dear me. Deary me. I'm sorry, Stephen. My goodness. Stephen Broomfield. How do I get that wrong every time? Honestly. It is 7 rounds, Adam. 7 rounds. I still can't nail it.
That camera shot, you could really hear the tyres screaming as they were going through Blanchimont there. It's such an amazing corner. Terrifying, to say the least, but you could hear the tyres absolutely screaming in pain as they're asked to be loaded up so much. Broomfield having a look to the inside into the source.
It's a very half-baked move. Let's get alongside. However, the Ford is ahead going into O'Regan and Bloomfield doing the wise thing and just backing out of it. It's almost strange seeing Bloomfield down in 7th place, which is a bit of a strange feeling, seeing that Bloomfield, no disrespect to him, but he wasn't fighting for podiums earlier on in the season, but he's been so strong in recent rounds that it's kind of strange to see him this far down. Ivanberg having to defend from Bicycopsica, and no moves into Lake Hume, which is always a very deceivingly narrow section of corners. You always think that it's going to be a little bit wider, but it is incredibly difficult to go side by side. Here comes Salt, though. He is going to absolutely mug Bicycopsica. I mean, report the police, mate, because you've been absolutely violated there, and Salt moves up into 5th place.
He does. What a move that was. It looked from the onboard from Broomfield we was watching, it looked like he was just going defensively, and then the braking, so brave, so late. Threw one up the inside of Bicycopsica and said, well, I'm coming, what are you going to do about it? And there was just no reply. Bicycopsica had to let him through, filtered it back in behind him. But what a move. How brave is James Salt this evening?
He wasn't the fastest in qualifying. I mean, he was only 9/10 off pole. He was only 4/10 off the front row in qualifying around the longest circuit of the city. Well, I say longest circuit, second longest behind Le Mans. But it was still a great qualifying for him, and he's really showing even better pace in the race. Next up, Ivanberg, and you would really back him with the amount of time that we've got remaining for him to make this overtake on the Gold Racing Team driver, as he really does catch up to him very quick. I mean, heck, if he gets past now, could Andre even be on the table? Salt is already trying to get past, making his opponent go a little bit offline. I think into Lake Coombe he's going to have a great chance.
Well, absolutely. You don't really want to be passing into the source. That's a common mistake, and I call it a mistake very purposefully. People try and pass into turn 1, when in reality that's the worst thing you can do, because you've got this drag up the hill, and then you've got the massive Kendall Straight. It doesn't make sense to pass that early. Get the toe coming up the hill through Eau Rouge, over the top of Radillon. Keep the toe down the Kemmel, as we're going to see now. And just look at the launch. There we go. A little bit early maybe, but he's going to get the run, and yeah, defending all the way for Eichenberg.
Ford seems to be faster down the straights. He was so quick through Eau Rouge and Radillon, so much confidence. Trying to defend right now is Eichenberg. But Salt, with the confidence that he's got, you always back him to make this move. He hasn't been able to get past yet, though. And now, is he going to be done by the same move that he tried to on Bicycopsica on the last lap? Not this time. But great racing amongst these 4 drivers. It's, well, you feel bad for Salt, because the Gold Racing Team guys are kind of working together. I think as this race has gone on, their teamwork has kind of faded away. But Salt certainly fighting an uphill battle. Certainly driving very well right now. This is the tightest battle we've got out on circuit, by the way, these 4 drivers. In fact, the next really close battle is Bill Kraus versus Joseph Saul. Kraus in his first ever race in the Apex Racing League GT Championship, and Saul missing parts of his car, which will not be helping him. Kraus actually overtook Saul on that last lap, I believe.
Yep, good first showing for Kraus. Again, it's a new name to the series, but it seems to be running pretty well out there. Just finding his feet. So take a race or two, won't you? Familiarise yourself with the drivers around you, what you can and can't get away with. James Salt, by the way, it feels like he's been overtaking everyone, but he's only gained 4 positions, which is not the most on track. Daniel Lee is currently 9 positions to the good, having started right at the back. Currently running P13, so as to be expected from Daniel Lee, got the pace and he's showing it out at the moment.
Yeah, still going to lose a lot of points though to Bob Humphrey. If there's any good news for Lee, I guess, is that he's going to definitely be, well, he would be incredibly unlucky if he wasn't within the reverse grid, and he will be starting ahead of Humphrey. I mean, there could be big points on offer for Daniel Lee. I think a top 5 in race 2 would be very possible. Is he catching up to Garzotto? Garzotto is quick on that. Gee, so Holland 15.95, Garzotto 14.26. 2 seconds faster for the Gold Racing Team driver. As we got side by side, this is Salt coming at him again to the outside of Eichenberg. This didn't work one lap ago, and it's not worked this time either. Getting the cutback. Down the inside. That's a bold move, and having to leave room for his rival is Eichenberg. And here comes Vysokopsika as well, going to go to the outside, down the hill, and Salt's great move might just be undone from a few laps ago. You can see the stature size between the BMW and the Ford as he does get back past. Is there any room? They make contact and they smash into the wall, and you can kind of see that happening. And he almost takes out his teammate as well. Salt, how much damage does he have? Can he continue to finish the race? He needs to finish on the lead lap. Oh dear me, and that was just that was too stubborn, I think, from the two gyros. I thought there, Adam. They both could have backed out of that and avoided the incident, and in the end, both of them just kept their nose involved.
Race drivers be race drivers, don't they? Neither of them wanted to back out. Both of them were hoping the other one was going to lift. Neither of them did, and they both ended up grazing the wall. Fortunately, we can't see an awful lot of damage on either of them. They're still running. They're still in this little pack. This reminds me very much of, remember the early rounds where Satellite were just throwing caution to the wind at every race and just racing each other so hard, chopping and changing places all the time. It reminds me of that. These guys are going at it hell for leather, and it is brilliant.
So it is now back to a Gold Racing Team 4-5-6. Pal up into 7th, and you'd probably say he's got the best chance as here comes Pal into La Source. Backs out of it. Loses you so much time when you don't commit to a move like that. Should have really just stayed in line there, Pal. But he's got a good chance against Vysokopsika, who's probably got a lot of damage on board that BMW. He's certainly losing a lot of time to his teammates up ahead. Just seems to be losing time down the straights, and almost Pal too quick through Eau Rouge. And here comes Salt, who will be desperate to get his own back on Vysokopsika. Might be 3 wide, might be round 3. Evo SR goes to the inside. Is Vysokopsika going to fight this one? Goes to the outside, might be able to hold on to both positions here potentially, because the Evo SR almost getting mixed around with one another, one's holding one another up. Good run. But Vysokopsika around the outside, and we might well have the same situation as we had one lap ago, because this outside line through this right-hander seems to work well. Then you get the inside for No Name. He's just about got part of his car alongside still. And he does have to back out of it, and now Salt will have to go to the outside going into Puon.
What are we watching? This is insane. Salt is like a tightly coiled spring. He's just ready to explode at any given moment. This is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That time around, room was given in the oxymoron No Name, and they all survived. And they're now got to try and catch up to Broomfield, who's disappeared off down the road a little bit.
So Vysokopsika and Salt, imagine they'll probably drop back from Pal now, seeing that they got a bit of damage on board their cars. And you're absolutely right, Broomfield 3.5 seconds further up, so that battle is over. Eichenberg and Broomfield still close though for 4th and 5th. Would be a good race for Gold Racing Team. Hopefully they realise the team situation. If it ended like this, they would pretty much have the lead in the championship. Dare I say, who's scoring points for Evo SR at the moment? It'd be McMahon and Salt, I believe, would be the highest scores. I believe Powell is an Evo SR green driver, so it would be McMahon and Salt. So of course, Edwards up there as well. So looking good right now for Gold Racing Team to get a large haul of points, as we've got 2 more laps to go in this race 1 of the evening. Still Salt wants to have a go at Powell. He's having a fight with everyone at the moment. We might have to go back actually to Holland and Garzotto as well in a moment, as everything's going on at the moment. We might have side by side for 4th and 5th.
23 minutes to 25 have gone already. Where has this race gone? It's been breathtaking. Even teammates are going up against each other now. You see Eichenberg and Broomfield sizing each other up. They've got a little bit of a gap, so they can afford to do this now. Salt is, well, he's getting stuck in, as we always see him. And then Holland and Garzotto going at it as well.
And Garzotto gets past Holland. So into the top 10, but this could still be a good result for Holland. He's being caught by Daniel Lee as well. 2.5 seconds back to Lee, 1.5 laps to go. Lee is 1 second a lap faster. So I don't think he'll quite catch, but he'll be pretty close to the American by the end of this race.
So Lee has passed Powell at some point to take P2 in the AMS. He was running P3 in the AMS not so long ago when we last checked in from his move. Yeah, he's gained 10 positions now, so at some point...
Powell had a spin, I think, on that last lap, which we must have missed. Here we go. Oh dear.
One of those lazy ones that you can't do anything about. You're helpless. It feels so awkward and cumbersome.
Lost 7 seconds because of that mistake. In the 2 minute 21, so these guys setting 2 minute 14s. The race leaders setting 2 minute 13s. I say race leaders, Tom McMahon, who plays in an absolute class of one. No, you wouldn't guess he hasn't won a race this season. It's been one of the most dominating drivers we've seen all season. Crushed the field. You think a strong Gold Racing team have come here to Spa. He's got his strong teammates. I mean, James Salt back on the scene. And of course, Francorchamps and Satsa are always going to be strong. And he's totally crushed them today.
I know we shouldn't show any type of favouritism really when we're commentating, but I am genuinely happy for him. As I said at the start, he's had a rough season. He's had to endure some bad luck and all sorts, but I'm delighted for him to be out in front and dominating the way he is. He deserves it, to be honest with you. I'm not ashamed to say that. As we see Salt and...
Oh no!
Ooh.
That could have been a lot worse. Salt, come on mate, get back going. Here comes Humphrey. Oh, this is big for Humphrey, gaining a couple more points in the championship.
Definitely not what Daniel Lee would have wanted to see there. Of course, he's just that little bit further behind and can't capitalise on that.
Spin for Bill Krause. Or strange incident for Krause. If he has toe back to the pits, which he has done, he won't be eligible for the reverse grid. So a full reverse grid would mean that Warren would be on pole position, but out in the lead. Tom McMahon. This is round 13 of the championship. It looks like it's not always lucky for everyone, but 13 is going to be lucky for him. Tom McMahon for Evo SR cruises across the line. He takes race 1 at Spa, his first race victory of the season, and his first race victory for a while. He beats Taj Edwards, a comfortable second place, Francorchamps a distant third, but, well, if the championship wasn't already confirmed for Andre, it is now. He is the champion for this season, but still will be desperate, I'm sure, to win race 2 in a little bit. Eipenberg beats Broomfield. Top of the amateur drivers will be Bob Humphrey. Massive results for the Englishman, who extends his championship lead. Look how many places he had over Daniel Lee in the end. And some of his other rivals, Stevens and Copeland and Warren, falling much further down the order. So a great day for Bob Humphrey right there in 8th position. Other drivers will cross the line. But what a race that was, Adam. It's a wide circuit here, and the drivers, particularly near the front, used every inch of it.
They did. It's been absolutely breathtaking. I can't believe that that 25 minutes has just flown by that quickly. It's been action from start to finish. Just wow. I don't think we've had a better race this season. I'm willing to say that. I think this has probably been the race of the season so far for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one that rivals it, but I think you might be correct on that front. I think Silverstone Race 2 was pretty good as well. Oh, that's off for Tressida, and Warren will beat him. Now, Tressida, that might be, he's a sneaky bloke. I don't know. He is from Wales. I don't know if that tells us anything. But he has fun that he will be the last eligible driver for the reverse grid. So if we get a full reverse grid, Tressida will be on pole position. We have not had a full reverse grid for the entire season. It would be massive if we got one here. But before we spin the reverse grid wheel, we will go through the results, and it's Tom McMahon who wins out 4.8 seconds ahead of Taj Edwards. Enric Andre finishes in third, 7 seconds off the lead. But dare I say he's the favourite for race 2? I don't know, he's just so good with the race cars, Andre. And he's won so many race 2s this season, he might well be the favourite, the Frenchman. Certainly watch out for him. Dennis Eichenberg lines up in fourth, or finishes in fourth. Then it was Stephen Broomfield, great battle between those two. Aaron Powell was in sixth. Mike Weissakopsika was in seventh. Then it was Bob Humphrey, top of the amateur drivers. Great result for him. Jeffrey Garzotto in ninth after an early slowdown. Good recovery, to be fair, for Garzotto. Salt, what could have been for him? Looked on course for a podium at one point, didn't he? But just got involved in a few too many incidents. Was fighting with absolutely everyone out there. Finishes in 10th. There's Derek Holland. Great result for Holland. He'll be even more happy than he usually is. Daniel Lee from the back recovers to 12th. There's Dean Powell. Damian Harris. Watch out for him if we get a decent sized reverse grid. Kevin Kitzelman and Tom Stevens. Kev Copeland and Joseph Saul was in 18th. Brendan Warren and John Trester were the last two drivers eligible for the reverse grid because Bill Krause and David Nichols will score points, but they're one lap down, so they will not be eligible for the reverse grid. And Sav, I think we are about to get that reverse grid up on our screens.
That's right. The reverse grid wheel is on your screen right now, so let's see. It is spinning. And it is lucky 13.
So it is going to be a reverse grid of of 13. Oh, Damian Harris. Blooming hell, mate. You're unlucky early on. Bad luck. Maybe 13 is unlucky for some. It means that Dean Powell will be on pole position despite falling a couple of places in race 1. He will be on pole for race 2. Daniel Lee, what could he do on the front row of the grid? James Salt starting up in 4th place. Garzotto in 5th. Few winners perhaps on the cards. Certainly do join us back then in about 15 minutes time for race 2 in the Apex Racing League GT Championship. You do not want to miss it.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing League GT Championship, live on Apex Racing TV. Once again, I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again, alongside me is Adam Hedgecock, with Sam Kumo operating the cameras and giving you all these fantastic overlays today. We're just prepping for race 2. Pretty small reverse grid, I'd say, in that from that race 1. Adam, who would you say is the favourite? I mean, I'm really stuck. I think usually for these race 2s, we can have a good guess at who's going to win for race 2. I'm completely fooled here. I really think there's 3 or 4 drivers who could take it.
Well, no disrespect to the AM drivers, but when we see these reverses, we're usually looking at who was the quicker of the lower order of the pro drivers, because they've got the best chance of capitalising on this. But today, I'm going to say Daniel Lee.
Are you actually are you like saying Daniel Lee will win this race, or
Yeah.
do you? Okie doke, awesome. Well, I like your confidence. So Dean Powell is on pole position. Then Daniel Lee, there he is in second place, gained about 10 places in race 1, but he is quick. Is Daniel Lee. Dick Holland starts in 3rd place. I hope he wins, really do. James Salt, I'll go for Salt then to win. He was very quick in race 1, got involved in a few incidents. However, I feel like he's either going to win this race, Salt, or he's not going to finish it. Jeffrey Garzotto lines up in 5th. He could be strong as well. Bob Humphrey, who has a lead in the Amateur Championship. Another strong result for him here would really help him out in the championship. Let's make Visa Kopsik here, Aaron Powell, Stephen Broomfield, Dennis Eichenberg, Enric Andre, Taj Edwards, race 1 winner Tom McMahon. Then it is Kittelman, Harris, Stevens, Copeland, Saul, Warren, Chester, Krause, and Nichols rounding out the order. Of course, McMahon, race winner in race 1. He was a comfortable race winner as well. So 40 minutes of racing then coming up in the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Dean Powell starts from the front. What is going to happen here at Spa? We are about to find out. Powell puts his foot down early, and we are away racing. It was a pretty even start for both sides of the grid. No changes so far in the top 11 places. Lee having to go defensive against Olin going into turn 1. There goes Salt around the outside, and wide for the race leader. We've almost got 3 wide, and Salt failing to make much of an impression. However, does get past Holland on the run down into Eau Rouge. At least I assume he will get ahead, as Holland does the wise thing and just waits in behind. No spins through Eau Rouge on the last time and through Radion, and at the moment we are all right this time. Way off the circuit is one of the Gold Racing Team drivers as we got bump drafting. There goes Salt. Is he going to go into the lead? He's flying along up through the hill. There's nothing stopping the Evo SR driver who takes the lead into Lake Coombe. On that one, oh, contact! And that's Holland off the circuit. He was hit by Harris, I imagine, or Humphrey. I think it may have been Humphrey, and that could be a penalty, potentially, for Humphrey. There he is, and he's got damage on his car, which does certainly point to him being the culprit. Oh, off goes Garzotto. He's made another mistake. He spun on lap 1 in race 1, and he spun on lap 1 in race 2 as well, and he falls right down to 21st.
If you thought race 1 was manic, this one has started off just the same way. This is incredible racing. Everyone keeping it pretty clean, to be fair, on the opening parts there. We saw that Powell got a little bit wide.
It's Eichenberg and McMahon. Oh my goodness me. I mean, come on, mate. Come on. How has this guy got to get a break? I mean, he's won a race, but there'll still be a sour taste because he could have won both races today. This is how it happened. Eichenberg losing it in front of him and nowhere for McMahon to go.
Looks like Eichenberg just caught the inside grass there, just had to open his steering, and yeah, I use the term a lot. It is unfortunate. After the high of winning the first race, McMahon, he's got it all to do again. He has towed back to the pits, so hopefully we'll see him back out again to try and claw back some positions. See Powell getting a bit of wheel spin on the exit of the right-hander there, into the wall.
Oh, 3 wide and off as well is, was that Harris? Oh, I think it was Powell actually who lost that. Harris actually just moving past. Bob Humphries up into 4th position despite that contact late Coombe. Andre's up into 6th. I mean, do not underestimate Enric Andre whenever. To be fair, Edwards has gone with him. Although there is a bit of a gap back to Edwards. So Humphrey in 4th, Broomfield in 5th, and Andre in 6th. There is Edwards, who was very quick in race 1. Here comes Broomfield, trying to get past for 3rd position. Gold Racing Team versus Evo SR. We've seen this a few times today, and he does come to get past. Andre trying to go through as well. There's nowhere for the Evo SR car to go. That was good defensive driving there from Humphrey to hang on to 5th position for now. And that will frustrate Andre for a little bit longer. Further behind them, Big Hugh Harris now leading this big train of drivers.
You go from a relatively wide Kemmel Straight, don't you, into quite a tight chicane there, and somehow they all managed to get through it in one piece. We see, was that just behind making a move there? I think that Kittleman out on the grass, I think. Managing to keep going.
I think it was Saul overtaking Holland. We saw a little bit into No Name. As still having to defend is Broomfield from. Oh, sorry, this is this is Edwards defending from Humphrey. I'm surprised. Oh, what? Oh my god, I'm getting vague. So Edwards has got ahead of Humphrey and Andre. How's he done that? He's up into 5th position anyway.
Yeah, so much going on. It's be brutally honest, it's kind of hard to keep track at this moment in time. There's battles everywhere, and again, it's just a testament to these drivers. They're putting everything on the line, not leaving anything on the table, and any other cliche you can think of. It's brilliant. Let's hope it continues for the full 40-minute race.
So yeah, we did see at the end of that Edwards battle, it was a lot of contact with Andre, who will be infuriated right now because, I mean, Saltz is out in the lead. Lee is very quick. Bicycopsic is quick. Broomfield is quick. Edwards is quick. Oh, as there's more contact here. Gazotto. Oh no. He has had a collision with Aaron Powell there.
I think there was a 3rd car involved as well. I see someone that was really slow on the inside of the left-hand part of that chicane, and then another car come across him. I wasn't quite sure who that was, but I think there was 3 involved in this one, so.
So it's all going on ahead. I think that was Saul, one of the B team drivers. Oh, that was, oh no, 3 wides into that corner, not going to work. And then, oh, Gazotto a little bit impatient and goes into back of Copeland.
So I was wrong. There were 6 cars involved in that, but didn't see we only saw the second part of that from the onboard, but it looked a bit clumsy, didn't it, from everybody there? Just need to calm down just a touch. You see Nichols with a lovely slipstream up the Kemmel Straight there, taking P18 from Kev Copeland.
Out in the lead. It's close. Salt, Lee, Bicycopsica. It's a British 1-2 at the moment. That last lap, Salt did a 15.0. Lee 14.9. Bicycopsica 15.1. Then it was Broomfield, Edwards. I mean, this is looking not bad for Gold Racing Team. They're lining up in 3rd, 4th, and 5th with Andre crucially down in 6th. I mean, that move from Edwards, that's big to get past ahead of Andre, because we know that Edwards has got similar pace to Andre today. So that is a big chess piece. I don't know what chess piece it would be. I know, like the castle. I don't know. Being manoeuvred to be ahead, but that could help them out big time tactically later on. Lee very much in the slipstream, and usually want to hold back. Both these guys haven't won a race this season. In fact, none of these guys have won a race. You'd have to go back to Broomfield for the first driver who. Oh, sorry, even Broomfield hasn't won. Top 5 haven't won a race this season. So great opportunity for them.
No, this is very true, and it's good to see Bicycopsica up there. Still relatively new to the series. I think this is only his 3rd outing, I think. Putting in another good show. Broomfield, another good showing again, isn't it, from Broomfield? He's always there, isn't he? You can always count on him to be buzzing around that top 5. And Taj Edwards, a man who was on form a couple of races ago. Didn't have a great race one, but again, he's one of those, isn't he? That you're never counting out. He's always there to pick up the pieces.
Andre is dropping down. Here comes Lee for the lead though. Has he got past? James Salt, is there any retaliation from him? No, there isn't. Lee takes the lead, and this might be the first time we've seen Daniel Lee properly in the lead. I think he may have got like a pole at Silverstone or something for the reverse grid, but the first time he's taken a move, and well, all of a sudden my bet is looking very poor, and Adam's bet is looking very good because Daniel Lee has taken the lead here at Spa, half a second ahead. Something has happened to Andre though. He is in the pits at the moment. Not sure if he's been involved in a crash or maybe just a connection issue for him. But whatever happens, he's oh dear, Henrik Andre received through but fell to an unacceptable level. And the man who has pretty much finished in the top 5 in every race this season. Dare I say, probably even finished on the podium every race. He really hasn't faltered at all, and he's not going to finish today, which opens up even more opportunities for the guys. There's only 2 other race winners on this grid. McMahon, who's out of the race, and Eichenberg, of course. And Eichenberg's standing 10th, so, well, say hello to a new race winner I think, in half an hour.
You know, when you say things like that, Sam, I have to get my little notebook out and start flicking through the pages. And from what I've got here, I think Andre is finished on the podium. No, he finished 4th in where was that? The one before Nürburgring. I didn't write down what round that was. Round Kota, there we go. So he finished 4th in race 2 there. So he's definitely not been on the podium every meeting, but it certainly looks like he's been in the top 5, which is that's just nuts, isn't it?
It really is. I love how we can hear the paper flicking
Oh, could you?
right there as absolute proof that you do have a notepad, which is a fantastic device. Lee is really falling victim now to Salt. Guys, don't bite. Don't bite. Oh, you're biting. Oh dear. Alright. Do it then. Lee puts his car down the inside and I mean, there's all Salts going around the outside. Come on, guys. What's the point in this? You're just going to lose each other time. Lee almost drops it again at that corner. And now Vysokopsika is going to go past. And, well, that was all a bit of a waste of time. And Vysokopsika, they gains a place out of it.
They do have a little gap to Broomfield behind, but they can't be doing this for much longer. They're just going to lose so much time. Personally, you know, let Vysokopska and Salt have a little battle. Sure, we'll see my man Daniel Lee head off into the distance, but yeah, as drivers, Aaron Powell has had an incident on the outside there. Where is that? Oh, that's coming down the hill, isn't it? The right-hander.
This is how it happens. Completely by himself. Oh, the rear always goes like that. Of course, going downhill, a lot less kind of downforce on the car. And does a good job at just stopping the car there. Does drop down to 14th place, to be fair. It's not too bad for him with the issues for other drivers. We have got McMahon out of the race, Garzotte out of the race, and Andre out of the race. Apart from that, everyone is within about what is the gap between first and last? It's about 40 seconds, which isn't too much. Not even that. Yeah, half a minute in fact. Yeah, so everyone's quite close. Or this could be close. Warren getting past Kitzelman. Kitzelman backs out.
Yeah, wise thing to do. You don't want to be going side by side through there. It is rough at the best of times. You'd have to take the sensible option. You would be a crazy man to try and take it too wide. But they survive, and Warren is up a place into... I was about to say he's 4th in the AMS, but he's really not. I forgot that Sol was up there, so he's currently 5th in the AMS.
Coming back to Salt. I mean, I feel like he's only been around for 2 meetings this season, but I think he's had more battles than anyone else. Because here he comes again on Vysokopsika. He just bends down the inside. And they're losing contact to Lee right now. I think Lee is probably the 3rd fastest out of these 2, but if they do keep on fighting like you were saying before, Adam, it's not going to help them out. Broomfield's on the case. Edwards is on the case. You can check out the live timing. It's a great situation to use the live timing. Link is in the description below. But Lee did a 15.5, Vice Kopska 15.6, Salt 16.3, Broomfield 14.9, Edwards 15.0. So half a second faster were the chasing gold racing team drivers compared to the leading gold racing team driver. And this is gonna turn into a 5-way battle, I think, at some point.
I don't mean this in a condescending way to the drivers that are out there at all, but at some point, Visa Kopsika and Salt have got to look at their relatives and figure out that what they're doing now is not best for them going forward. Obviously, Visa Kopsika has actually got a bit of a gap now to Salt. Out of nowhere, really, isn't it? They were side by side going up the top of the Camel Straight, but yeah, he's got about half a second gap back to Salt now.
What I would say about Salt is that he does seem to be very quick down the straights. On the race start, Raikkonen would be pleased with that one. Kimi Raikkonen back in 09 when he just used the curves and overtook everyone. Oh, that's a big impact. That's Holland and Warren. And dare I say, that could be Brandon Warren's chances of the anti-title gone right there. He needed a perfect last couple of rounds, which we knew he was capable of, but it hasn't paved that way. I think it's Warren who comes across from that angle. Doesn't look as though Holland could be any further to the right, and Warren hard into the wall.
I have to agree, from that camera angle, it certainly looked like Holland was right up against the line. As you see, Visa Kopsika having a look at Lee. Lee's gone defensive really early. Is Visa Kopsika going to try and go around the outside? Yes, he is. Lee fights back though, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Manages
just
to,
here comes Salt. He likes this move down the hill. And you know what? He should have gone for it because Broomfield completely left the door open, but didn't go for it to Salt, and Broomfield's with them. Broomfield, this is a 4-way battle now for the race lead. Just wondering, I don't know if you would have written this down, I doubt you would have done, but in race 1, who was the gold racing team driver that Salt overtook down the hill into the right-hander?
I believe that was Visa Kopsika.
Aha, okay, so it'd be ironic if he did that again.
I think, yeah, he looked like he was going to be defending from Broomfield, didn't he? We was on board with Broomfield behind him, and he went to the inside, and instead of just covering the corner, he went straight up the inside of Visa Kopsika.
Yep.
Inspired move.
It was great, and I thought he was going to do it again then. There was the opportunity, but didn't. Almost looks though the top two though will take each other out. I mean, they were so close to the second part of Le Coon, so watch out for that. Top 5 then separated by 2.9 seconds, and on that last lap, in fact on that last lap, Edwards didn't gain that much on Lee. I think on this lap it'll be a bit more significant because he's having to defend his Lee. Oh, this is terrifying. Going right now. Will he defend into the source? Visa Kopsika looks down the inside. Oh, well, does he move across at that? Visa Kopsika's got to be careful there because he almost moves across too much and into Salt's braking zone. And Broomfield's right with them. Might have the best run of all of them up the hill because he's a nice distance back at the moment. Eau Rouge and Radion for the 8th time in this Apex Racing League GT race, coming to you from Francorchamps in Belgium, as Lee once again right to the edge of the track, moving ahead of Visa Kopsika. There goes Salt through the middle, and Lee backing out of that one early, and he drops down to 4th place. Oh well, Lee was really careful there.
He was overly cautious, I want to say. Now, I'm not opposed to cautious driving. That's how you finish races. But it seemed he was very, very, very cautious there. He's 2.3 seconds back. We see another 3 wide coming towards Le Coon. Holland getting involved with Eichenberg. And who's that just behind? That's Powell just behind, is it?
Yep. Oh, great job right now from Kissman up in 9th place. Kissman's gained 6 places well done to Kevin Kisman. He's driving really well right now. This is one of the best races I think he's had all season for the German. One of the best races that Indy Autosports Whites have had, running in 9th and 12th. And Holland certainly could have had a better race if it weren't for a couple of things going against him so far. So certainly bringing their A game to this penultimate round of the championship.
Always liked watching this car. I say it every week, but it's my favourite livery out there. It's beautiful. It really is.
Simple but effective, we always say about that one.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of change at the top of your timing screen, however, I don't think anything did. In fact, has Broomfield got past Salt?
He has, yes.
I think that may have been a move that has just happened down at the chicane, I can only imagine. So, Stephen Broomfield up into 2nd place now, and he's got 1.9 seconds to catch up to Kopsika. Gold Racing Team with a 1-2. I mean, they have already got a race win this season with Eichenberg, who's having a very dull race at the moment in, well, not a dull race, he's having quite an entertaining race in 10th, as Salt is going to go straight back past. That is a quick Ford.
It's a slippery car, isn't it? It just glides through. I know that here you don't particularly want to be running a lot of wing, but yeah, he's cutting through the air beautifully, isn't he? It's so quick in a straight line. Trouble is, and again we pointed out that the battling between these two is just letting the leader get away. Kopsika with a 2-second lead now over Salt. That's impressive when you consider that only a lap or two ago they were all so close together, and Kopsika was down in 3rd at the time.
I think where Salt is quick, I think it's just going through Eau Rouge and Radion. We saw it earlier on, didn't we, when he overtook... I can't remember who he was overtaking, but he was really good through Eau Rouge and Radion, and I think that's why he's so quick, because he just launches onto the cover straight. I think not necessarily his straight line speed is better, but I don't think it's bad, but I think his Radion pace is what is helping him out at the moment. Although you can see the gap between the top two is closing a little bit down this next element. Are they flat through here? Oh, they do lift out a bit.
I can confirm that Eau Rouge and Radion is flat in these cars. That's definitely in the...
Oh, the leader! The leader has binned it. Mike Kopsika. My goodness. Well, he was already sideways there. He was pulling away. He was pulling away. And he's absolutely spoiled his chances of winning this race. It's a similar incident that we've seen others make. Had to wait for the others to go past as well. Oh my goodness me.
Such a clumsy one. And it's all self-inflicted. There was no one else around him. Easily done though, especially with the the weight of these cars. If you get it a little bit twitchy, it will turn around on you, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's such a shame for him, but such is life. He's still running P5 though, so still a decent result as it stands.
He's 8 seconds off the lead now, so he might be able to get involved in that lead battle again later on, but we'll have to rely on the others fighting quite a bit. Powell versus Holland, fighting a lot. Powell, I think, has got back past Holland recently, perhaps. So yeah, recently getting past, and then just ahead of them, Eichenberg, who I think has dropped a place or two. But he's back up into 10th anyway. Past Jason Saul, because he was in 9th, I think, before Eichenberg. He's had a struggling round. The former race winner at Nürburgring, but he's back where he started at the moment.
Well, you say he's struggling. He's been saying he's been struggling here. We was having a conversation on the Discord yesterday, and he said he historically doesn't go well here. But of course, I kind of scoffed at that at the end of the first race, seeing as he grabbed himself a P4. So I don't think he's all bad here. I just think he struggles a little bit with the consistency of the pace. I think that's what we're seeing here He did gain a couple of positions. He's lost a couple of positions, and now it's back to where he started, as you said. So I don't think it's all bad for Eichenberg, and if any previous results are to go by, he's still in with a shout for any type of result here. He's doing pretty well.
It really does change, I think, your perspective on a driver when he goes and wins a race, especially the way they did at Nürburgring, beating Andre in a straight fight, and also the fact that he was way clear of everyone else. I think he was 15 seconds clear of third place, and that involved, like McMahon, who comfortably won race one today. So maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with my expectations of Eichenberg, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, in 10th place, that's not bad for him whatsoever. Will be good points for Gold Racing Team. This is big for the championship. Greenfield versus Salt, and Salt. But you know what? Salt didn't pull away through Radion that time. Goes defensive. We've seen the inside line into Lakeum really be advantageous because it's the outside for the second part, but then it's the inside for the third part. On this occasion, that doesn't even matter. He has the inside for the first part, so can take a better line. But I know. I always feel like I'm being a bit patronising to the drivers when I say, why are you fighting? But why are you fighting? I mean, these two have the pace to pull away from Lee and Edwards whilst they're fighting. Particularly, I mean, with Lee seemingly holding up Edwards right now in third and fourth. They could be 4 seconds up the road, but instead they're defending into corners that they don't need to.
I used the term earlier, race drivers be race drivers, and it's true. Some people see the bigger picture, the longer picture. Some people just see the battle that is ahead of them. And let's be honest, if they weren't battling, we wouldn't be having anywhere near as much fun as we are in the commentary booth this evening. So although it doesn't make sense from a bystander's standpoint, for sure, it's good fun for us to watch. I'm just wondering, we've just gone on board with Broomfield. Just wondering, Sam, if we can have an onboard of Salt as he goes through Eau Rouge and Radion next time by. Like I was saying earlier, in the 20-minute spec, these cars can do that flat quite easily. And I'd imagine now, 25 minutes into this one, tyres nice and toasty and a load of fuel burnt off, I would imagine they're still doing it flat now.
It's fantastic that the Ford is back competitive out of these GTEs. These periods. But pretty much the majority of the Ford's line on iRacing has had a significant disadvantage to the fastest car. But now, particularly around some circuit, it's the car to go to. Salton and McMahon certainly showing that. Let's see how Salt deals with Eau Rouge this time. That sounded black.
Yeah, gear change halfway up to settle it down. The tyres were squealing, weren't they? But boy, that was fast.
Oh, trying to go for the cutback a little bit there, Greenfield. Not the cutback, but the dummy. And Salt defends again. And this is all good. Lee's wide in the background. He's off the circuit in the background. And Edwards, is he ahead? He is just. For a guy who very easily let past 3 drivers earlier on, Lee fought that one a lot. But Edwards is up into third place. I think if there's anyone in this league who deserves a race win, I think Edwards is right up there. He's always been there, thereabouts. Got a couple of podiums so far this season. It'd be fantastic to see him on the front, on the top step of the podium. He's got 2.6 seconds to catch up to the lead battle. I think if they keep on fighting for another 3 laps, I think he'll be right with them. Weiss Kopsika, by the way, on that last lap was 3/4 of a second faster than the race leaders. If he keeps that up, he will be with them by the end of the race. Oh no, well, that's a bit of a curse, isn't it? Edwards goes and absolutely ruins his opportunity. Completely does his work. And loses third place to Lee again.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Lee just darted out in front. I think just on the... we're going to see a replay now of the battle at the top of the hill. See them side by side.
Aha, here we go. What's this? Is it just it was just a mistake. There you go.
Yeah, a bit of a wriggle on. Lee was a little bit cautious there. He wasn't sure whether he should go for it or not, and Edwards just gave him the space. I think if I was to give an award for the most improved drive for the season, I'd probably be looking at Edwards. He started off relatively solid, and then he just started gaining more and more pace, didn't he? Getting instead of finishing a fifth, he'd be in fourth. Instead of fourth, it became a third. Yeah, second in race one here as well. He's certainly upped his game as the season's gone on.
I think we might have to go back to the lead. Quarter of a second. Yeah, well, I mean, it could be a carbon copy of previous. That sounds like IndyCar, isn't it? Where it's like the same thing over and over. You know how they're going to overtake. There's not really a whole lot that Bloomfield can do. Lee goes defensive again on Edwards, who wants to go around the outside. Oh, this is painful right now for Edwards. And look at Bicycopsico, he's right with these guys now. Remember, Bicycopsico was 8 seconds off the lead at one point. The gap to the lead now for him is 5.6, so he has cut that gap down significantly in the past kind of 8 minutes or so since he had that spin from the race lead. It's a horrible step. I feel like this would have almost been a comfortable race win for him if it weren't for that. But, oh, what could have been? Eichenberg moves up into 9th. He gets past Kitzelman. Got a while to catch up to Stevens, though.
It seems like these two are having a little bit of a scrap. I think Kittelman did get back past him, and then they swapped again. So good battle there. And we also saw that Damien Harris has passed Bob Humphrey for 6th. A little bit further up the order from where we're looking now. There they are.
That's big for the championship. Humphrey would like those 2 points, I think, extra you get for 5th compared to 6th.
I think after the day that Harris has had, he'll be less than willing to be much of a team player at the moment. I think he just wants to get as many points as he can to round off the day. Of course, having some issues in the Sim Racers World endurance race earlier on that we were watching.
Did we clarify exactly what happened to Harris on that?
No, we don't know.
It was very strange. He almost took out his own teammate. Did take out his own teammate. Salts versus Bloomfield. And Bloomfield has got his car ahead. Now can Salt retaliate going down into Eau Rouge. Now come on guys, one of you can back out. You don't both have to commit to this one. Salt down the inside. They are going to both commit to it. Round the outside goes James Salt and he hangs onto the race lead. Oh, that is nice battling through Eau Rouge. That was great driving from the pair of them. Not much space was given by either. Salt was half a tenth of a second behind. From this position, usually you're going to back out of it, but well, Mark Webber would be proud of this. They actually, I don't know about you there, but I thought they both lifted.
I think they did. And funnily enough, I was about to say, Mark Webber, if you're watching out there, tip your hat because you've just been outdone. That was pretty mega, wasn't it? From both of them, to be fair.
Edwards also got past Lee. And now Bicycopsico might get past Lee as well. No, didn't have enough of his car alongside. That must have been a good move. I don't know if we could go back to that move for Edwards. That must have been a really good move into Lake Coombe because he was on the outside. Lee had that inside line covered. But Edwards must have wrapped his way around the outside. Here we are. Because this move has failed a lot of times for him. Oh, nicely done. Great move.
That momentum. And he's just given a little twitch just across, just to let Lee know, look, I am past you. I am taking this position.
Oh, massive crash for Kitzelman and Eichenberg, who, well, that is an unusual position for a car to be in. Almost like a wood chipper right there. This is how it happens. Kitzelman ahead. Has he lost it by himself? He sure has.
Oh, just a side swipe. When luck's not on your side, things like that happen. That is unbelievable luck for Eichenberg.
That's big for the championship as well. Gold Racing Team who are fighting Evo SR for the title. Bloomfield, I believe, is a Gold Racing Team driver. They do have 2 teams Gold Racing Team. That's why my confusion comes. So yeah, he is Gold Racing Team. Bicycopsico isn't, but Edwards is. So this could still be good for a gold racing team. Top 2 drivers out of 3 score points for each round. So they could still get a lot of points from this good gold racing team. Meanwhile, Evo SR, as Lee is going to be done by Kopsika. Not quite. I mean, honestly, Lecoum, just put a camera on that. I think that would pretty much sum up what's gone in this race. Second place out of the Evo SR Jazz, I believe, is Harris, I think. He is Evo SR, there you go. So he is second place out of those guys. So at the moment, it would be Salts and Harris, the top scorers, and Broomfield and Edwards would be the highest point scorers. So I believe Gold Racing Team would be marginally ahead based on that one, but it would be close.
It certainly would, but that's what you expect when you're watching this race, and we know that everyone is capable of beating everyone. It's so competitive between the drivers that the smallest margins really make the biggest of difference. And yeah, we can see that in as you just alluded to, the points will still be incredibly tight between them.
Gap between second and third is 3.4 seconds. On that last lap, Edwards did a 16.4. The races did a 17.7. 1.3 seconds faster for Edwards. 6 minutes to go. We've got 2 minutes 17 lap times. So I've only got 3 more laps to go. So he needs to get a move on with it, does Edwards, if he's going to catch up. Oh, this is close for the lead again. Now, will they dare go side by side through Eau Rouge again? This time, certainly not. Yeah, not this time. Who do you think is? Oh, that's a lot of movement.
Hold that thought.
That is a lot of movement. Alrighty, here we go. Broomfield, he's a little bit closer than he's been recently. Usually he's about 2 tenths of a second back. This time he's 1.5 tenths of a second back. Moves alongside. We have seen this outside line work for his teammate Edwards a couple of laps ago. It's not working for Broomfield though. And he's trying that move every single time. Here comes Bicycopsica on Lee. Great move from Bicycopsica. That was so nearly contact, carried loads of speed in. That was a great move from him. And now he can start chasing after. I mean, I wouldn't bet against these top 5 closing back with one another by the end of this race.
No, I agree with you entirely. One thing that Broomfield isn't known for in this league is being last of the late breakers, and I think Salt's got his number on that one. Broomfield is more of a collected kind of guy. He'll break reasonably early, but he'll have a measured approach, carry a lot of momentum through the corner, and have some great exit speed because of it. Salt, on the other hand, can break incredibly late. And I think that's what's keeping him in front at the moment as they go into Lacoon. He can break that little bit later, meaning that the outside line for Broomfield just won't work.
We did see, we didn't see it actually, but I think it did happen earlier on where Broomfield got past into the final chicane. Every time we've watched these two though, it doesn't look like that move's going to happen because you can see half a second going onto this straight or whatever what you call it, a flat out area. And actually losing a little bit of time as well through Blanchamont. 2 to go. So, Salt, what time is he going to do here? If he's in the... Well, that last time he actually did a 15.6, which is actually pretty good, to be fair. This time he does a 16.1, Broomfield 16.5, Edwards 15.6. So another 0.6 of a second out, but with 2 laps to go, he's not going to catch in time. It looks like he's track extending. He wants to help himself out. Just lost too much time behind Lee. Lee was properly a cork in the Edwards bottle, and he's really perhaps cost him a chance at this race win. Broomfield further behind this time, and well, Salt is closing in on this one. 1 and a bit laps to go. You think Lacoum is going to be Broomfield's best opportunity? He's only going to have 1 more chance into Lacoum on the final lap.
Yeah, he is indeed. He's definitely keeping Salt honest though, isn't he? He's keeping him on his toes. And again, that's what we come to expect from Broomfield. He never gives anyone an easy ride in these races. But Salt, yeah, is doing what he needs to do at the moment. Just keeping his nose in front, keeping it clean. Of course, they did have some issues earlier on in the race, didn't they, where they dropped down a little bit, but they are back to the top again. Edwards not really making any dent into their lead, really, but going well. Nothing should be taken away from Edwards. He's had to gain 9 places to get to where he is now. Just double checking, he is the biggest mover in the field as well. So big props to Taj Edwards.
Might be the points highest scorer today.
Second and a third, yeah, he probably will be.
Yeah.
Definitely will be. Yeah, Broomfield got a fifth in race one, so a fifth and a second. Yeah, that's Edwards would be the top scorer of the day.
Salt has got his gap up to 3/4 of a second. He's pulling away now from Broomfield, who couldn't get the job done earlier on, and now in these latter stages, James Salt is the more confident out of the pair. So he gaps up to 7/10, a little bit larger than it was on the last lap. Bicycopska still hangs in pen for Lee. Here comes Lee. Oh, that's a little bit late from Bicycopska on the brakes into the chicane. However, Lee's going to have a better exit going on to the last lap, lap 19 of this event. Gap out in the lead is up to 1.1. That was a mistake from Broomfield. Lee sticks it down the inside again. But had to back out down the hill. Oh, this would be brave. This would be brave. Oh, come on, guys. Oh, he cuts to the corner a lot. He will get the cutback, do a rouge into Radion. That isn't usually something that you say. Contact between the two of them, and that should have been a 200-mile-an-hour impact into the wall. They were very fortunate that it wasn't Lead to the inside. Rare that we see the driver overtaking, getting the inside line into Lake Koo. However, Bicycopska wraps it around the outside, drives it in deep again. However, Lee has got ahead. Bicycopska again driving it in deep, but that's not going to work for him. Still partially alongside. We'll get the cut back again. Deep on the brakes is Bicycopska. Carries a little bit more speed. However, he has run slightly wide, extending that corner. I mean, that sums up what we've seen today, Adam. Incredible race.
Well, we said it right at the top of the show, didn't we? How competitive this field is. It doesn't matter whether you're a pro or an am. You just go out there and race who's in front of you, and we're seeing that right now. Daniel Lee, we recognise him as being an incredibly quick am, and he's showing once again that he doesn't care who's in front of him. He's going to give it a go. He's going to try and make the moves to put him up a place, and he's not scared to do so. And it's brilliant to watch.
It is James Salt, 7.5 tenths of a second clear. Remember, we've had the 3 satellite racing drivers of Karoni, Andrew and Andre all winning races this season. We had Bibby at Silverstone winning a race for Evo SR. Eichenberg winning for Gold Racing Team, and earlier today we saw Tom McMahon taking his first race victory of the season. But we are going to see a 6th different race winner of the season right here, right now. James Salt for Evo SR rounds the final corner. He wins at Spa. Race 2, it's his. Great result for James Salt. Great race car. He fully deserved that one, and I was right all along. Daniel Lee finishes in 4th place. Bicycopska, we might have to get a replay actually of what happened at that final chicane, because there was a little bit of switching between the two drivers. As well, we are about to find out Lee on the inside. By the way, Lee wins the amateur class. So Lee was defending into Blanchimont. Eichenberg, I think, goes for a mega lunge here. There was a car's whip. Or no, had to go to the outside. It nearly, well, no. If it made the corner, it would have worked. But Lee wins in that battle form. I'm sure that will feel like a race win for him. Humphrey, great points for him in the Amateur Championship in 6th. And then Harrison Code behind that. Oh, what a race, what a race. And we've still got a few more drivers across the line as well. Brandon Warren's a little bit further back. Adam, meeting of the season, undoubtedly. One of the smallest grids as well that we've had this season. I mean, 22 drivers still pretty strong. But remarkable racing. And it was for the high positions as well. Absolutely crazy. That part of it can be put down to how great a circuit Spa is. but I think the majority of it has got to go down to the drivers.
No, I totally agree. Again, this is my favourite track of all time for this exact reason. It just lends itself to this kind of racing. There is something for everybody. It doesn't matter if you can't be the last of the late breakers. Doesn't matter if you're not great in higher speed corners. There's other parts of the track that will suit you perfectly. What a night! Definitely the meeting of the season for me. Absolutely, it is. And I'm thrilled that we've had such a spectacle. It's what a way to round the day off.
Absolutely. Penultimate racing of a race of the season, of course. Next week, we head to Le Mans to finish off the championship, which will be a great finale to the season, I'm sure. So really looking forward to that one. So, the race results then from round 14. The Apex Racing League GT Championship. James Salt wins 1.5 seconds ahead of Stephen Broomfield. It was closer than that though. Had to defend pretty much every lap from Broomfield, or every corner from Broomfield for about, I reckon, 8 laps. He won though. Taj Edwards finishes in third. Just got held up by Lee for too long. If he got past Lee a bit sooner, it would have definitely been with those two drivers sooner. And maybe the Jamaican would have been able to win out. Still a great result for Gold Racing Team. They might be leading the championship now, the team's championship for the first time this season. With 1 round to go, it is going to be so close between them and Ivo Asado. Daniel Lee, top of the amateur drivers, finishes in 4th. Great drive. Make Visa Kopsika though leader by 2 seconds at one point. Spun it at the chicane though. What could have been? What could have been? Great. I'm sure he has a smile on his face though after that. Bob Humphrey, a distant 6th in the end, but great points for Bob Humphrey. Certainly going to be the favourite for the amateur title going into Le Mans. Damien Harris, a little bit of a lonely 7th there. Humphrey, interestingly getting back past Haas. Don't know if that was maybe a tactic from those guys, but yeah, not sure. Tom Stevens finished in 8th. To round out the amateur podium. There's Aaron Powell. Derek Holland, I reckon that's probably his best result of the season, and had really good pace. Could have been higher as well for Holland, you know. Had a couple of setbacks early on, but still solid top 10 for the American. Kevin Kitzelman, his teammate, was in 11th, probably Indy Autosports white best race of the season. There's Joseph Saul, Dean Powell, Kev Copeland, Bill Krause on his debut. Nice drive of him. David Nichols, Brandon Warren, and the Tyrese. There were a few of them. Dennis Eipenberg, who crashed at Puon. John Chessida, Enric Andre, who lost connection. Jeffrey Garzotto, who had a high-speed crash, I believe. And Tom McMahon as well. Great shame from McMahon, really, really was. He would have definitely fought for the race win. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So too, Andre as well. But I think we will be quite content with the battle that we got in the end. So, a couple of interviews we're going to get with drivers now. And the first interview we'll get will be with Tom McMahon, who we rudely interrupt. But congratulations, Tom. It's been an unlucky season, and we'll focus on the positive first. That qualifying and that race 1 win. I mean, you were pole by half a second. That is a massive gap. And then race 1, absolutely way faster than everyone else.
Yeah, that was good. That was that's the first track combo that I've felt sort of back to me. I think sort of doing the official races during the week and hopping around cars that I just haven't settled. And then it kind of clicked. I felt competitive last week at the Nürburgring in the Ford, and then this week did a bit more practice, and just felt really dialed in. And you see in practice that I was at the top of the times. I was like, I'm sure everyone else is gonna like turn it on for qualifying, and then that was unexpected. And then the pace through the first race was awesome. Really enjoyed it. Car was great. I think I had 2 off tracks, and they were quite easy to get around Spa. So really, really good.
Definitely. Now, we're going to go on a little bit of a bad tune now. Race 2 wasn't your fault as far as we could see. Who won, I believe it was. Just take us through it from your perspective.
I was being so careful because I had surprised myself with how competitive I was in the first race. So I knew that I had the pace, without trying to sound too sort of big-headed, but of the field. So I was just being super careful. It was Dennis Eifenberg and Aaron, my teammate Pal, going through Puon, and it just seemed maybe they were going a little bit too racy, and I think Dennis had lit his rear tyres up, and he just started to lose it, and he got a snap of oversteer, and I was tucked right up behind him, so as he snapped across, it shot me out into the barriers, and I got stuck into the barriers with a meatball, and so I towed back, and the tow was about 3 minutes, so I would have been, I think, 2 laps down at that point. So I thought I'd watch the stream and cheer Salty on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, great shame, because I was saying just before, you would have definitely been involved in that lead battle. And that looked pretty tasty as well. I'm sure you would have loved to be involved in that.
Yeah, it was one of those, my heart kind of sank, because I for the first time the whole season, I felt competitive and racy, and felt I was in with a really, really good chance. But it wasn't to be. Got my win, which I'm delighted at. So we'll settle for that, because as I said to you earlier, this season it's not been one that I'll remember greatly, but it's one for the history books.
Next up is Le Mans. It is close in the team's championship, and I feel bad because you just won a race, and I'm being really negative. But I think Evo SR may have lost the championship lead now to Gold Racing Team. Has that been particularly at the forefront of your mind? Is that something that you'd like to win, or have you not been thinking about that too much?
I'd like to get it back. I think everyone would be lying if they said they didn't look at the points and see where they are, or maybe I'm just more competitive. So yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a tough one, both like physically, because we're doing the 24-hour Nürburgring next weekend, straight into this. So the only saving grace is Le Mans isn't exactly the most physically challenging track to drive. So we'll do a few tweaks to the setup, and no, absolutely, if you can win something, always go for it, and we're in with a shot of winning the team championship, so let's go for it.
Definitely. So best of luck to you for that one. Tom, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Just all the Evo SR guys who are getting involved with the league. It's great to see that we're a kind of a friendly community and people getting involved. And of course, you guys, the stream was mega. Thank you for organising. It's great to hear that there will be another GT League up and running fairly soon that we can get stuck into. So yeah, thanks again.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Tom. Well done on your race win today, and best of luck at Le Mans next week and at Nürburgring.
Thanks, guys.
So that was Tom McMahon for Evo SR. Race 1 winner, retiree in Race 2. Adam, I believe you are going to have a chat with Stephen Broomfield.
I am indeed. Again, we rudely interrupt a previous conversation. Stephen, well done tonight. P5 in Race 1 and your season best P2 in Race 2. Talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, I was really happy about the second race. The first race was a bit of a strategic battle. Me and my teammates from Gold Racing were really working together well to break drafts and defend the inside line. So that was a great intra-team effort. And the second race was a bit more a personal challenge for me. I was starting right in the pack on P7 or 8 or something, or P9. And I was really fighting hard. I was catching the leading pack, and they were disintegrating one by one. And eventually I was right behind James. And I unfortunately couldn't get by him.
We saw in the first race that as you said, he was working with the team to break the draft and just try to help each other get forward. At one point, we saw Andre just in front of I think there was 3 of you, literally surrounding him coming down the Kemmel Straight. What sort of conversations do you have in the team when that kind of situation happens? How do you go about trying to get all 3 of you past that one driver?
Yeah, well, it's mostly a thing of telling the person in front of you where you would love to be, love them to be. Like, for example, when they're both going down Camel Straight, for example, then you say, okay, try to go to the left because I'm on the left right now and Andre is on the right, for example. So just these small little things that make the difference. And I mean, it's a team sport, and why not use the possibilities when you have a well-organized team in the Discord?
Oh, absolutely right, and amen to that sentiment. Absolutely. Race 2 was a little bit more easy going towards the end there. Obviously, we were in a 1v1 battle this time round with James Salt, who was frighteningly quick at some points of the track and incredibly late on the brakes. Unfortunately for you, towards the end, you just couldn't get past him. But what were you trying? How did you go about trying to change up your strategy against him, seeing that it was taking so long to get past?
Well, I believe I was generally faster than him in terms of pure pace. I was in those areas where I was faster. I was just putting my nose in. I was showing myself. I was weaving as is my right as the follower, and I just wanted to make him nervous, obviously. And it sometimes it worked. He, for example, made a mistake once where I made him nervous, but I couldn't capitalize on it. I didn't agree with all the moves he did. Into turn one, we had a little contact where he closed the door on me, where I thought I was entitled to some space. But generally, it was a really fair fight, and I think that there's always a bit of rubbing in these situations. And it was definitely quite the adrenaline kick for me, and I'm just glad that I survived with 9x. So that should give me a lot of points for this race.
Oh, absolutely, and of course, like I said, P2, your best of the season so far. That's certainly an achievement in its own right. Next time out, we go to Le Mans, the absolute classic old school track. How do you go there? You familiar with it, and how confident are you?
Well, I don't have a great track record at Le Mans, but that's also what I said about the Spa track here, and I still had a really good pace and race. So I'm kind of getting to know these hate tracks of mine better, and eventually I think I will be improving in all of them. So maybe Le Mans can also be a good race for me, but we'll see.
Let's hope so. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to shout out or give thanks to?
Yeah, I'd like to say thanks to my Gold Racing team members, Mike, Dennis, Taj, Jeffrey, and John, who couldn't be with us today. And also, of course, my parents and especially my dad, who's watching every race. So thank you for just being there.
Awesome. Well, it's been, like I say, it's been a pleasure. We will see you next week in Le Mans.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye.
Cheers, Stephen.
Stephen Broomfield with a second place in race 2. Then he was pretty good in race 1 as well, one of the highest point scorers of today. Final interview will be with Daniel Lee, who is in the commentary box with us now. Congrats, Daniel. Let's start off with race 1. You started from the back. Now, I've heard some rumours that you prioritise having an interview of all things with another series rather than qualifying for this, which meant that you started from the back. However, that did look like a fun first race.
Oh God, somebody's dobbed me in. Yeah, you got me. I came in hot from the Team Hard Touring Car Cup, which has concluded about 5 minutes before this race. So I've come, hot and bothered from that one straight into this one. Yeah, didn't have any time to put even one lap in for qualifying, so I had a bit of a challenge ahead. But that was a lot of fun. Run the gauntlet of any cars that spin out, which there were some, and just keep on going up. And then just caught the reverse grid, which was great. But that double-headed race was pretty much one of the best ones I've had so far in this league, for sure, or just all round. There was a lot of fights all up and down.
That race 2 in particular, that looks mad. You were leading for a bit, I think maybe for like a lap or something, but certainly fighting for the lead for a while, defending quite a bit, and then we saw you lose about 3 places at Les Combes. Just take us through what happened there.
Yeah, sadly, that was purely because I cut Eau Rouge just a millimetre too much and the virtual steward slapped me with a 2-second slowdown, and there's no good place to take it. If you don't slow down, you're going to get an even worse disqualification. So I just had to give it up, knowing that I was going to go tumbling down. But a bit of a shame, because that would have been a good battle for the lead, but not too gutted about it, because it ended up being a good battle for third and fourth with Taj Edwards and Mike Visa Cup Seeker. So I'm not too gutted about it. Still resulted in an AM win for the second one, so I got to be happy with that. And the fighting was relentless from start to finish. I definitely did not have a moment to breathe there.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, some of the battles that you had with Taj, and then particularly at the end of that race as well. How much would you say the advantage was being in the draft? Because we saw a few times you got overtaken, but then on the next lap you were straight back past again. You seem to be able to bounce back very well.
Definitely. I think either my setup was probably a bit drag heavy, or the draft really does have a big effect here, because there is no doubt about it. If you're within a second of the leading car ahead of you on either of the long straights, you're going to catch up. And that basically means that the whole thing's reset. You know, you could push it through Eau Rouge really quickly, or you could push it through the last set of corners before Blanchimont, is it? Not sure. But any long straight here resets it all over again. That's why if you get somebody on your tail, unless you can break that 1 second gap, you're just going to be under attack for, over and over again until somebody makes a mistake. And at the minute, nobody seems to be making mistakes, myself included, after a little bit of a hardware upgrade. So I do feel more confident, you know, sticking it deep into the brakes. So that was probably why you didn't see so much of an error rate for me this race. But yeah, there is a big effect of a draft on this track, and being as Le Mans is next, I can only imagine it's going to be even more pronounced there.
Absolutely. In the championship, it's close. So going into this race, without drop scores, you were 15 points behind Bob Humphrey. I think that gap might be up to about 20 points now with how well Bob did in race 1. He did pretty well in race 2. But it looks like it's going to be you two fighting for the championship win then in the amateur category. How do you fancy your chances against him to take that championship?
Definitely not going to be missing qualifying next time round, that's for sure. Race 1, Bob was ahead of me and I could see him ahead, but I couldn't catch up. I think that I collected a bit of damage on race 1 from, I think Tom Stevens sort of peeled out in front of me, or somebody sort of pinged Tom Stevens into me, but I think it clipped my rear arch or rear bumper, and that meant I was losing 3 miles an hour in the straights. But otherwise, I wasn't catching Bob Humphrey. He was being chased by my pal Dean Powell. So it is going to be really close, no doubt about it. There's just something about Le Mans that's really going to equalise it. So unless I can shake Bob on the race at Le Mans, it's going to be a battle to the finish, I think.
That's what we're hoping for. Really well done today, Daniel. Thanks for putting on such a superb show out there, particularly in race 2. Before we say goodbye, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I'm going to thank the wife for bringing me a drink and some flapjack in mid-race. That sounds really stupid, but
It doesn't.
I was glued to the spot. Yeah, I was glued to the spot for 2 hours with this race and the Team RTCR beforehand. So, you know, I need supplies. I need a sort of on-hand crew chief, and she did that. So thank you.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Daniel, and best of luck for Le Mans next week.
Cheers. Thank you.
So that was Daniel Lee, and some flapjacks as well, which I'm sure are deep inside his belly now. That is the fuel of champions, undoubtedly. So yeah, certainly thanks to Mrs. Lee there for bringing him that fuel. So next week, Adam, final race of the season. The Pro Championship is over. Andre has won it. That can be confirmed now. But that amateur title is coming down to the line. And Le Mans just by itself, it's going to be a great race. We've already heard how much the slipstream is going to make an impact. Properly unique circuit, and well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's been a good night here for racing. I want to say I'm really looking forward to Le Mans next week. But after the racing we've had here tonight, I can't see how it can get any better. I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly surprised. It is a classic track. These drivers should know it pretty well. We go there regularly in a multitude of events throughout the year. So yeah, it should be good. I'm also going to see if I can find someone to bring me some flapjacks.
Definitely. Yeah, we need to investigate. We will do
Yes.
some finding out some research, see how we can get flapjacks as well. So yeah, certainly do tune in for that next week for the final round, round 8 of the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. I'm sure you have. It's been some incredible racing we have witnessed at Spa. On Apex Racing TV, coming up in the coming week, tomorrow we have the World GT Championship. I'll also be on the Esports Network as well. That will be from Suzuka. Very good circuit, that. So looking forward to that race. Then we've also, oh geez, what else do we have? ARLTC, I believe, is on Thursday. Road to Indy is next Saturday, I imagine.
Kokoro Invitational Series on Friday.
That is a good shout. Kokoro Invitational Series on Friday, as Adam says. So
Tuesday, me and you. ARL 2 hours of Nordschleife.
good shout as well. You're much better than this at this than me. Yes, that is happening on Tuesday. Still a few sign-ups as well available for that. So go to the Apex Racing League website for sign-up details on that. A few spots in each of the classes available for that. So if you fancy doing a 2-hour broadcast race, £2 entry fee plus VAT. Certainly do sign up for that one. We recommend. So hopefully you'll join us for that one as well. Basically, just like this video because I'm sure you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to Apex Racing TV, and then you can see all of the broadcasts we do, and turn on your notifications as well, because then they will pop up whenever we go live. So certainly do all of that. Thanks for tuning in to join us back for the mod, and best of luck for anyone who is doing Nürburgring as well next week, because boy, you're going to need it. So for now, from me, from Adam, and from Sam, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.